All right. After the grading scale in the syllabus, starting on page 6, we have the classroom requirements and expectations. Assignments, I expect that you turn them in on time and that they are fully complete. If your assignments are a day late, you lose 10%. If they're 2 days late, 20%. After 2 days, the Dropbox closes. For minor assignments, that's going to be it. You're not going to be able to turn it in. For major essay assignments, you essentially get one do-over. So if you miss the Dropbox by a day, we will have to have some type of conversation, either via email, it could be during office hours, it could be via a chat on Canvas, where we discuss why the essay wasn't turned in, and I will give you a second chance, and you can submit it for up to 50% of the total points for that assignment. Now, you only get that chance once. So if you turn in the rhetorical analysis after 4 days past the due date, and then you miss essay 2 again, I'm going to tell you, sorry, you're not going to be able to turn in essay 2. And because essays 2 and 3 are linked, there will be further repercussions. So make sure to pay attention to due dates. If there is an issue, you have a family emergency, you have an illness, something happened, be sure to communicate that with me. I won't promise that I'll give you an extension or that I'll make any special accommodations for you, but it's better to check in with the instructor than not discuss with me at all. If your essays are short, I will deduct points if they are not complete. So your rough drafts typically have to be at least 50% of the essay, or at least a full sentence outline. So if I'm expecting 500 words in your rough draft, but you only submit 250, you're not going to get the full 10 points for the rough draft. And I have rubrics for each assignment that outline these details for you. The 50% rule applies to assignments that are worth 25 points or more. If you have completed less than 50% of an assignment, it's an automatic 0. I'm not going to grade it. It's just going to be a 0. If it's not at least halfway complete, there's really nothing there for me to grade anyway. Assignment format, everything should be in MLA. MLA is in the 8th edition, so pay attention to that for citations. I expect that the papers are double-spaced, they use Times New Roman 12-point font, and they have appropriate headings. I will have examples of MLA formatted essays on Canvas for you to look at. There are also resources on how to format. If you have questions, of course, let me know. So final drafts and major essay assignments, any major writing assignment has to be in MLA format. With that said, a rough draft, I expect to be rough. Formatting isn't a huge concern with a rough draft, but any final papers need to be in MLA. We discussed late assignments. I want to go over my ungradable and assignment return policy. There are 3 types of assignments that could be considered ungradable. If an essay, a final draft of an essay is submitted and it's not in MLA format, and it looks like you didn't even attempt MLA format, the font's wrong, it's single space, there are no headings, that will be an ungradable. If it does not have a works cited page, that is ungradable. Or if it's clear you didn't take time to proofread the essay at all, and it's not clear what you're saying because there are so many errors with grammar and wording, that essay is ungradable. And if it's ungradable, what I'm going to do is I'm going to deduct 10% off the grade automatically, and then I will send you an email telling you why it's ungradable and what you need to do to make it gradable. And I'll give you a date by which to complete those tasks. Then you will submit it to me, again, and I will grade it. You'll have lost 10% automatically, but you can still earn up to 90% of those points, granted that you made the appropriate changes. If you do not turn it into me by the date in which I've given you, then what's going to happen is it's an automatic 0. So if you have questions on that, let me know. This is why it's very important to check your email. If it's something small, like you single-spaced everything and used 14-point Arial font, I would give you 24 hours to make the correction. If it's something like you're missing a works cited page, I'd probably give you 48 hours or 2 days. So be sure to check your email daily, especially when it's time to turn in major essay assignments. So please keep in mind also, major essays, I don't start grading until the day after the due date. That way, if you submit something and you decide you want to resubmit because you noticed you submitted the wrong draft, you still have that flexibility. But after the due date, starting the day after essays are due, is when I start grading your work. And usually I have essays graded within a week, even less, of the due date. So please keep that in mind. I offer extra credit if you go to tutoring. So if you go see a tutor at LCCC's Tutoring Center, and I have the tutoring website on the course homepage, I will give you 5 points of extra credit. You have to send me proof that you went to tutoring. You can take a picture and send me a copy of the tutoring slip that you get when you go. Or if you do online tutoring, you can send me the transcript of that tutoring session. And you can do that once for each major essay assignment. So that's 4 different opportunities for extra credit. 5 points for each major essay, and there are 4 major essay assignments. Handouts just keep track of where you save things that you download from Canvas. If you ever need help finding something, I will tell you where it is. Don't expect me necessarily to take time to email it to you, though. Everything is on Canvas. Readings are important. Stay on track with those. At this point, you guys know how long it takes to read shorter and longer essays. So keep track of where you are with reading assignments. Don't let things pile up, especially when we get to the novel. Attendance. So attendance is a little different here with an online course. Our attendance is basically done via discussion boards. Most weeks we will have at least 2 discussion boards. Week 1, we just have 1 mandatory discussion board. And there's another week where I believe there's a 3rd discussion board, just based on when we have to get work submitted by. So if you disappear from the discussion boards for 2 weeks and we don't hear anything from you, that's akin to just missing 2 weeks of class and disappearing for 2 weeks. And you put yourself at risk of getting the FAW grade, which our midterm is at week 5. So if you disappear for 2 weeks between now and week 5, I'm going to assume that you are no longer part of the class and issue an FAW. If you do it after the midterms, where you just kind of disappear, you're missing a huge chunk of class, 2 weeks. That's over 20% of class discussions, and I will have to give you an F. If I notice you're missing a lot of class, I'll send you an email and offer you some next steps, possibly withdrawing from the course or speaking with your advisor. So if you have any questions on that policy, let me know. If something does happen, communication is key. You should contact me immediately, but it is an online course. So even if you reach out to me, I will still expect that you are participating in class discussions regularly. Discussion boards, make sure to log in for those. If school closes for whatever reason, we still have class. We meet online, so there is that expectation that you will still be present in some way. I have a missed work policy here. If you are missing a lot of work, that is going to negatively impact your ability to do well in the course. If you have extenuating circumstances, again, reach out to me. But if it seems like it's becoming a habit where every week you're coming to me with excuses, a meteor fell on my house, I had to go save the world so I couldn't finish the essay, something seems to be happening every single week, then we'll probably have a discussion about when a better time to take the course would be. So I hope that doesn't sound too harsh, but I want everyone to do as well as they possibly can. All right, college policies, tutoring is listed right here. If you have an accommodation, please let me know as soon as possible. Send me an email with a copy of your accommodation form. Accommodations do not roll over. You have to visit accessibility services each semester to renew your accommodation and get a new form. And I cannot assume an accommodation just based on discussion. I have to have that written documentation. Administrative withdrawals. So if you do have extenuating circumstances that impact your ability to complete a course, talk with your advisor. You might have to submit documentation, and there's a chance you might be able to withdraw without losing any money for the course. Attendance, that is important. In the next week or so, I have to report whether you have attended class or not. So make sure that you are participating in the discussion boards. That's how I know you have attended class. Some resources here if you need them. FERPA, this is important. Essentially, this means that I have to keep your information private. If your parents send me an email, I can't talk to them about your grades. I will communicate information about your grades to, of course, you as an individual and to the college for midterm reports, final report cards, all of that good stuff. But outside of the college, that information will not be shared. Financial aid. If you have questions about financial aid, there's a resource right here for you. Midterm grades. Midterm grades have to be reported at the midterm for the semester, so between weeks 5 and 6. The only midterm grade that goes on your final report card is the FAW grade. If you don't have the FAW, then the midterm is just a check-in to show you how you're doing. So if you have a B at midterms, that does not mean you'll have a B at the end of the semester. It just lets you know that up to that point you've been doing work that averages a B. Some more resources for you here. No smoking on campus. Campus Code of Conduct. This includes things like plagiarism. Always cite your sources. Don't copy and paste from Wikipedia. Make sure your work is your own. I do check that and double check to make sure that you aren't accidentally plagiarizing, because then that's a discussion about citations, or that you haven't simply copied and pasted huge passages from other texts without giving credit. So make sure that your work is your own. More resources here as well. All right, so that concludes part 2 of the syllabus. If you have questions, let me know. In the next video, I will go over the assignment list.